Can anybody hear that?
Yep.
I'm so sorry about that. We did figure it out. Thank you, Sean Shanahan, who is a wonderful person. Just wanted to mention too that these two folks are going to be signing copies around here. We're going to move this out of the way when this is done. We're going to have some signing here and some signing here. Is that correct? Okay. And, all right. Welcome back.
This thing works. All right. So, it's my pleasure to introduce my friend, Jenny Root, one of the first people I met in Eugene, and she's always been kind of an alter ego for me because I'm the bookish, live in my mind person who's always hesitates a lot before jumping into a physical danger situation, whereas she is a double Aries, and it's like, what? Just do it, will you? And you know, even her choice of activities is very fiery, like putting out fires, for God's sakes. And even working at the bookstore, I mean, that's like the fires of the mind. She was here for 3 years at least in Tsunami, and actually, didn't you help build these shelves?
I helped put this room together.
Help? Yeah, and this is recycled wood, right? Yeah.
Pressure washed to the ceiling. No, I'm not.
I can't imagine that, though, you see. And you can actually read about that particular aspect of her life, the firefighting, that is, forest fire fighting in Oak Ridge and elsewhere, in the New Poets of American West, a tome of over 500 pages, and Jenny's poem is on page 334, so make a note. Jenny has, aside from being a diligent poet, and one who became even more diligent by attending Maxine Skate's classes, which I understand are rather rigorous. So she sort of graduated from being a rookie poet to now a seasoned poet with her first full-length collection. And I'm thrilled to be able to introduce you as you debut your baby here. I note the influence of the working class influence of Philip Levine and Dorianne Locks. I wish that Dorianne could be here, but apparently she's aware and done some Facebook stuff. I love Jenny because she represents the connection with instincts in the natural world, and I knew both of, you know, Gertrude Stein said, I am I because my little dog knows me. In Jenny's case, it was because my big huskies knew me. And I was fortunate enough to meet Shauna and Doc, and Shauna spent many hours in this bookstore, and her spirit still is here. Also she's an activist. She's had lots of experience working with publishing and Storyline Press and so on. Now she's doing very worthwhile legal work. And Lane Literary Guild work was how we kind of first got together. So it's a culmination of many years, and I am just delighted that it coincides also with so much personal happiness, with this coming together of her fiancé. It's a good girl. So, without further ado, Jenny Root.
Oh my goodness. Wow. Thank you, Claudia. Oh my goodness. There's a list here somewhere. Just open that up and flip it to the right side. Okay. It really is thrilling to be here and to be able to share some poems with you in a book. But actually, the poem I wanted to open up with was not from a book. So remember late summer, early fall, when it's really hot, dry, dusty, just that really warm, perfect time in Oregon, Western Oregon. Well, it's not that far removed. I think you can remember and go back to that with me. Anyway, so that's the setting for this poem, which I want to read tonight in honor of all the wine that is being poured tonight. This is a wine poem. Galileo said, "Wine is sunlight held together by water." And this is alchemy. And there's one word in the poem. It talks about soil horizons. And I don't know very much about soil science, but I came across that term and I just thought that was really an interesting term and concept about the layers within soil and where those flavors can come from. So I was working with that in this poem. Alchemy. Sunlight swaggers through the valley, hills hot and buzzing, sugars a smolder. Mineral earth layered with time, here a drought, and here a dearth of heat. Cool, dark metals, sweet tang of gold, horizoned in centuries of soil. Nourishing roots incite the ripening fruit, clusters of colored flesh and juice, light green to aubergine, champagne to cabernet, bourgeon on the vine. Sweet fruit picked late before the darkening hours. Crush of summer, dense gravity, dark matter in a glass.
I'll drink to that.
Please do. Oh, and if I could ask you guys not to clap between poems, it just goes to my head. So, pretty much everything else is going to be coming from this book. The Company of Sharks, Catherine Rydell, approached me last year saying, let's do a book, and what do you got? And very grateful. So I thought that I would read a couple of the earliest poems. And this one here is probably the earliest poem in the book. I went to El Salvador in 91, 92, during the Civil War, and just afterwards. And this is an experience from that. This is called This Is Not My University. It talks about the University of El Salvador, which was occupied and bombed repeatedly by the armed forces. History is a pile of debris, and progress is a storm. Sometimes revolution, sometimes civil war. In El Salvador, I hear voices, I see stories, choruses that rise up from piles of twisted desks. Smoking graffiti epithets grace empty classrooms. Yankee, fuera! But I could not go home without a new story risen from that pile. And progress is a storm. She said, we're all in the same revolution. What you see in this broken mound of bricks is not my university bombed, my education damned, my compañeros slain. This is our history combined, yours and mine. And she stepped over that pile of stories like she'd done so many times before. No, this is not my university yet. So as Claudia said, I worked here, and it was an amazing experience. And when I was working here, it was like the mid to late 90s. I knew this guy, this tree planter, and as she mentioned, I did some firefighting, and so I know that working in the woods is some really tough work. It could almost make you want to work in a bookstore. This poem is called The Tree Planter, and it's for Scott. He rises earlier than God to the same breakfast every day. Sausage, potatoes, eggs. Simmering with thoughts of yesterday, he writes, bracing forehead with calloused hand, fingers stained earthen and sore. He marks the days on his calendar, win, loss, or draw. He sees the forest of his 47 years, clear cut. Outside, dawn erases darkness without audience, clouds scudding a crowded room. Breakfast ready, he takes the pan to eat from it the food for 12 punishing hours. Before leaving for the unit of slash, mud, and pain, he'll stretch to save some semblance of himself. But not yet. Words take root. He writes his way from the night departing and into the gathering day. So also, as Claudia mentioned, my dog Shauna was often here with me, or when I even wasn't here, she was here. So I thought tonight I would read this poem for Shauna. It's called Hold. Stiff in the morning, slow to wake, we both dream of reaching the finish line. Legs kick, she's almost there. I watch her body run in place, then stretch, reach over, and gently pet her awake. I've loved this old girl ever since she was a pup, the wolf in her a wildness I long for. Unfocused, unsteady, she rises to front legs, the back ones all but useless. She sits, then pivots to turn around, gaining, or is it losing ground? How hard it is to leave her alone. If I try to help, she twists and writhes and falls. Oh, wild one, my sweet elder wild. Afternoon, after a day of pacing through pain, she's all teeth and paws, giddy to play our game. She's lying down and I grab for her paws, tap her ears, pause, then ears again, her mouth chasing my hand until her jaw snatches my wrist like prey. Like a mother carrying kittens or cubs, this once death-dealing jaw holds what it loves. An old gesture, a greeting, an affection. With that caught hand, I grip the silver fur of her face, and we hold. Okay, so I'll switch gears. Get into some speedier territory, dangerous territory. Courting the sea. Sunlight splatters on my knees. My coral bones are decked in gold. Many creatures attend me. Forests sway as I breathe. Exquisite fury have I, and patience without end. I devour mountains, make men lose all sense of time. You must come to me in peace. Understand, I am made of water, but you may die of thirst. If you wish to know me, first remember, I prefer the company of sharks. Let's see. So I came here from Detroit, and you've all heard of that city lately. So this poem is a poem that was written from, sparked by a photograph. So, J.L. Hudson's of Detroit. At 25 stories, J.L. Hudson's of Detroit was once the largest department store in the world, and on just another Saturday in October 1982, they brought her down. Why, the caption for the photograph doesn't say. No story accompanies the newspaper clipping found stuck in a dusty book. No people in the picture. Not one descendant of the city's 2 million immigrants. No hands covering mouths in disbelief, or from asbestos, the great gray plumes. One presumes the photographer takes the necessary precautions, a kerchief, or more likely a cigarette. On his mind, his aching feet, the bratwurst he swallowed for lunch not sitting right, and the goddamn editor's peeves. This one ain't framed right, Mick, and this one here you got no sense of light. Mick thinking. So I pulled this mother-loving assignment, all day to light and frame the store Ma worked in years before the war. Detroit was bustling then. A savvy girl could earn close to $5 a week if management didn't shame her back home to get beat on like a side of beef. She made out all right. A new purse every year and married Pop within the first. Had me, had Sis, and Pop remained stateside, factories gobbling up anyone they could find. Ma stayed on at Hudson's, rather than wash dynamite from my hair. Some nights Pop came home bellowing, union boys and bosses both are sticking me coming and going. One look from Ma and he'd snap his mouth shut around us kids. Her suppers, her rules, and Pop never strayed. For the love of God, can't they bring that damn thing down? There's a Tigers game tonight, might be their last. Mick looks again at his watch, at the long hand creeping towards the short on the floor, and then the first blasts, fists of concrete turned ash, thrust out and up the building one floor at a time. Ladies' garments, the infant room, haberdashery and Florsheim shoes, accessories and home furnishings. Hudson's department store, where on Armistice Day the world's largest flag was once unfurled in a city now shrunk to less than 1 million. The store built by the founder of Detroit's traditional Thanksgiving Day parade, where Santa once waved to Mick as a little boy, implodes to the pocked asphalt below. So that's sort of a picture of a little snapshot of a family and a time. So this next poem is another family and another time. And this should be fun. It's called Butterflies 1972. Bye-bye, Miss American Pie. 2 girls, 7 and 5, sing along in a Chevy Suburban, driving with their parents down the back roads of a country fading behind them. They wonder about the levee and the rye, but keep up with the good old boys. Pink carnation and a pickup truck for the pink clink and fun spunk of it, leaning out the backseat windows, hair loose and flaring like the 4th of July. This isn't the day the music died, this endless scorcher boring through cornfields south of Detroit. The family's on a camping trip, heading toward the spine of I-75, the father and mother not saying much. The jesters sang for the king and queen. Their father glares at them for singing, and their mother turns around, puts on a smile, and says, "Stop now, girls, let's play the water tower game." Standard Oil on the horizon, Mobil out there above the trees. Do you recall what was revealed? The jesters on the sidelines when the song comes on the radio again. Not a song the girls understand, but they go on singing about angels in hell through the flatlands east of Mississippi. 1 Mississippi, 2 Mississippi, 3 before thunder, and their father threatens to stop the car. This time, I mean it. I met a girl who sang the blues. The girls hum softly to themselves the song about music and dying. When the car stops for the night and their mom sets up camp while their dad stalks off to be alone, the sisters peer at the radiator and see the year's butterflies, splayed perfect and dead, the air humid, buzzing with locusts. And next poem is called Trust Rock. Under blindfold and, on this occasion, in a canyon. Lone call of raven, crunch of duff. Bandana tied around my eyes, the sun's rays of warmth urge me to move as my father guides each step I place, each step deliberate, yet uncertain on shifting ground. Divot here, rise there, sand, gravel, silt. Shadows at bay, immobilizing cargo trains of thought stopped, feeling my way forward with eyes closed. Fingers trace canyon walls, volcanic ash, limestone grit, pocked granite. Wind hustles the aspen, a creek chatters toward oblivion. No, toward union, he'd say, distant, inevitable. I hear how my mind wanders darkly. He turns me left, places my hands on a furrowed bark. Leaning in, I breathe vanilla, ponderosa. I'm 6 again. Breathe peace. Calves cooled by dusk rising, he turns us back toward camp. Bandana removed, my eyes find my dad's as the sun nearly stares me blind. And this one is called Daughter Journey. 3 years ago when I set out to meet you, ours was a territory with no well-worn paths, no favorite resting places. As I traveled, I placed stones to mark every naked burrow, every shrouded thicket, every thirsty stream attending my sorrows and sleep. My pockets grew lighter, and I began to find my joys and mark them with fir cones, small clusters of future duff and shade. There, your advice saved me from getting lost. There, we sang along a mountain trail. Indian paintbrush, western columbine, wildflowers I learned from you led me to a place in the forest, sheltering your own sorrows, my abandonment, my betrayals, losses I never knew blossoming low and thick as lupin. This private glade, you know, like the feel of my once tiny hand. I stand here now and feel how familiar, how inviting this terrain. Here, my mother, my mirror, waiting. So I'll switch gears again on you. Eugene, 150th birthday celebration, anthology, collection of poetry by poets from all around the area. And this one is called, this ought to be fun. That'll be fun, so I better take a drink. Okay. Aphrodite has had it. Up to here with all the skinny girls, boosting their cleavage and showing off as if Zeus and the others need any more encouragement. discouragement. No, the Queen of Love isn't getting enough lately. Ares always marshalling the boys at Serbu, and Hephaestus blacksmithing for Ninkasi. So she's as green-eyed as Hera when Psyche saunters by on the downtown mall, ripped fishnets under short shorts, black leather bustier, and gobs of dark makeup. All of 13, the goddess thinks, and flies to her son Eros' cabin in the high Cascades. She tells him to fix it with his arrows, so the girl falls for the next droopy-drawered, dreadlocked, wannabe Rasta to shamble by, showered or not. Eros, he's no mama's boy. Look, Venus, he drawls, pissing her off with her Roman name. You're totally out of touch up there in the South Hills. Down on Blair, girls like that are all over the place. She's just trying to fit in, pretty as she is. An angry gull, Aphrodite, beats her wings and screams, I'll show that floozy pretty. But Eros cuts her off. Ma, don't worry. Dudes don't pay attention. They're working their Game Boys like we used to goof around with those Olympic rings Hef always made. Listen, I'm not shooting any arrows. You're still the prettiest goddess in town. Such a crooner, and she almost buys it on her way back to Skyline Boulevard. But Aphrodite's no loser. She banks left and heads for the mall. She knows her devious, back-talking god of a son has packed his quiver and flown to Eugene, thinking that haughty Psyche might still be around. Aphrodite will always ensure Eros shoots his arrows right. I've got a few more, but some of them are short. It's a beautiful day, and you must finish mowing the lawn. Dandelions from your yard scatter their offspring up and down the block, and there you sit, sucking wind, heaving great sobs of it. Dumped by the guy 2 weeks ago, you feel as misplaced as the gas can, lying on its side somewhere beneath an azalea, kicked aside like the dog's old tennis ball, chewed up and left for taste to your bones. Still, it's a beautiful day, and you must finish mowing the lawn. Orphaned at a yard sale, your mower isn't quite up to the job. It gasps and chokes, little red, sputtering heart. You find the can of gasoline, the dream of fuel pouring from its mouth, watch the easy glide into the chamber, and, willing that spark of he will regret, you yank that cord for all you're worth, yank it again, and vroom, the catch. Sweet combustion, growling engine of does not forget, roaring fury of all that was not said. You know, you can get over stuff by writing poems like that. It really helps. It really helps. Oh. Completely different now. I want to read this poem. It's for a very special friend of mine who's here tonight, and she came down last night to go dancing it further, and I'm very glad that she's here tonight. This is called River Song for Corinna. You're near him in the taverns, the alehouse jug bands that grok the shimmy-jimmy long-haired swing and jive. The banjo and washboard can make you feel he's again alive. Those thimble fingers clacking the rhythm so quick and sure, you forget for a while the life you'd planned. Babies and other bands, music on the road with bards and troubadours, singing and spinning beside you while you dance or play. But you're working now. Work hard and long until it aches. Dullness takes away the sharp pain of his absence, grounding you in the life you live with passion and dance. The glass pendant of his ashes a presence you're never without, like the river of music and work, work, and dance, as now you know it is the dance that heals, even in the undertow. And I'll just do two more. Let's see. So, last year when I moved in with my sweetie, and he lives with cats, and I had not lived with cats. It was a new experience all the way around. And probably many of you are familiar with how they adopt your desk chair and you know, just want all your attention when you're trying to write. That was new. So this is for that cat. She's called Dulce de Leche. Curled in a ball, color of honeyed cream, she's claimed my desk chair for her own. Defies me when I arrive, this Siamese queen. Blue almond eyes, face a golden teardrop turned upside down, a feline alien and final arbiter of this space. To move her and sit is to risk insistence. Her sleekness returns, claws her way back to the lap. Cannot resist, I sift fingers through rich fur. Soon a strange cooing purrs from the birth of time. Together she and I exist in this rectangular universe of windows, keeping tabs on the birds. Birds or gods, I'm never sure which. Thank you all so much for listening. Let's see, this one. Oh, wrong number. There it is. Okay, it's called Love Runs Loose. That trickster snatches every chance to run wild, back gate gaping, or shut tight and locked, a challenge. Caught in the act this time. Hold it! Stops, looks back. Was that a wink? Then gone, husky fast, bolting through backyards, cats hissing, chickens squawking, dogs barking on their chains. Neighbors out gardening while Saturday's sun warms their sodden lawns. Love runs loose, while love is left watching her go. Traffic barreling down the hill, love hurries to her car and drives, calling love's name, asking, have you seen her? Black and white Houdini, lifter of latches, gangster of gates? She's straight again, and love is frantic in the chase, driving streets, wandering alleys, listening, listening. While love lies near, panting, smelling the roses' sweet, urine-scented bases. Love, come here! And the voice of a trickster's god booms over sidewalks and drives, over coops and gardens and alleys, and somewhere love hears love calling her name. Springs to her feet, comes running around the corner, sees love and leaps, breathless, returning, tangled and tumbling, rolling, rejoicing love. Thank you.